absolutely beautiful Sagittarian friends, and welcome to your horoscope for June of 2021, where this month, Sagittarius, we have got another eclipse that will absolutely be impacting you, as it is in the energy of Gemini, so just across the street from you in the 7th house, but also on the Gemini-Sagittarian axis. So you are not quite done with the eclipse cycle and the eclipse energies just yet, but remember, we had a lot of endings that were happening in your world in May with the lunar eclipse in your sign, and now this is the solar eclipse on the other side of that, bringing the relationship, the me and we balance and dynamic really into play here for you this month. So we'll talk all about that, but we're also going to have the second of 3 Saturn-Uranus squares happening between each other this month, and that will be impacting you between your 3rd and your 6th houses, definitely pushing you in the place that's like, okay, I need healthy daily routines. I need to take my health serious. I need to take my mental health serious. I need to take the daily way in which I'm processing and interacting with information pretty serious and break out of the ways that maybe it's been unhealthy or I haven't been paying enough attention. So we'll get into that as well. But we're also going to welcome in the summer solstice. Depending on where you are, we're going to welcome in a solstice. Let's just say that. And we're also going to bring Jupiter and Neptune into their retrograde, which is our indicator that it is an okay time of the year to begin to slow down and to reflect and to evaluate some of these bigger structured things in our lives and the direction that they've been going. So let's get in here, Sag, and talk about what's happening this month and get you out and enjoying the beautiful June air, okay? Right at the beginning of the month on the 2nd, we're going to see Venus move into the energy of Cancer. This is going to light up your 8th house space, and Venus will be placing her input and her influence into this area until June 27th, where she'll move into the energy of Leo. But for a whole month, you've got Venus over there lighting up the 8th house space. This is joint resources. This is joint connections, joint finances, taxes. Astrology lives in the 8th house, sex, reproductive organs, all of these things, traumas, dramas, healing, they all live in the 8th house area. And as Venus comes into Cancer, one of the things that really happens is, first of all, Venus comes to bring a benefit, right? She's bringing a benefit to this 8th house space for you. She's literally like, oh, joint resources, joint connections, vulnerability, intimacy. Yes, let's do that. And with being in the energy of Cancer, these could have things that have to do with women in your life, right? Connections with Cancerian energies, connection with your own emotional life and well-being. Also ideas, though, or connections that you have, Sagittarius, around family. Are your family dynamics changing in some way and you're really emotionally kind of coming to your own, where it's much more of an interdependent place instead of codependent, or maybe you're stepping out on your own? Because the 8th house, even though it's joint connections, it is really about being in those joint connections, but you're holding your own on your side. Each side is autonomous. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, Venus is here trying to bring those benefits. Now, I will say, if you are in this area of your chart for your business, this can be really good for collaborations as well, okay? On the 10th, we're going to have this new moon solar eclipse at 19 degrees of Gemini, which will light up your 7th house place. The 7th house is about conscious, chosen, one-on-one relationships, and open enemies are here as well, because we're conscious. We know of the relationships that are in play in these particular energies. Now, this particular eclipse is going to feed a lot off of the story that we did see back in May. We had a lunar eclipse that was in your sign that was about shedding old truths, shedding old versions of yourself. That full moon lunar eclipse said that over the next 6 months, Sagittarius, you know, there are things about you that need to be ended, acknowledged, or adjusted. It's just time to slog that dead skin off, essentially. And now at this new moon, what we've got is the opportunity to fill that gap, right? To fill it in with new information, new relationships, new significant relationships in your life that actually show you how to grow. And as a matter of fact, I think that because this is Gemini energy and it's so much about learning about these relationships, one of the things that you could genuinely be learning through relationships is who you are, because they're acting as a mirror back to you. And that, like, it's okay to have new relationships. It's okay to break free from the ones that were there. It's okay to go deeper into the ones that you have. But either way, I think that in Gemini, over this next 6 months, this eclipse brings such a big shift in your willingness emotionally and consciously to participate in relationships. And of course, Everything looks different 6 months down the road. So who's going to be in your team? Who's going to be on your tribe? You know, the sun's going to be in conjunction with Mercury, who is retrograde, which tells us we're about out at the middle of the Mercury retrograde cycle. Anyways, you can tell I'm recording near a Mercury retrograde because these words are not working out. The word magic has been depleted. So we know that we're at the middle of the Mercury retrograde cycle. So with the ruling planet of this particular eclipse flipped backwards, I think you're also doing that reevaluation over the relationships that have already been in your life, or the way you've been in relationship with other people, where it's like, my dynamic is changing now. I want to be a little bit more independent over here. I want my own jam over here. And now sometimes at a moon, it can be emotional. There could be a mental Gemini power play between you and the other force that you're in relation with. But just take it easy. You can have both the relationship and your own autonomy at the same time, and they don't have to compromise each other, okay? On the 11th, we'll see Mars moving into the energy of Leo, lighting up the 9th house space, publishing, marketing, broadcasting, higher education, certifications, distance travel, things that have to do with languages or learning advanced content. All of these things become available, and Mars is ready to do this, right? Mars is ready to go in Leo too. It's done in a very boisterous way. It's funny, Sag, because I actually just have a vision of you here in June where you're just a little dramatic. You're just being a little dramatic, you know, you're just putting it out there, but you're having fun. You're laughing. You're like, oh, distinguished educators. You know, there's just a little flair to you with Mars in this Leo energy, but it's definitely where Mars wants to live out of the heart in that very big Leo energy. Now, the other thing about it is that Mars will be in this Leo energy until the end of July. So I do think in the areas that have to do with expanding and getting outside of your horizons, which is really your jam, going on a little bit of an adventure, I do think that Mars offers you in Leo the opportunity to take some risks that maybe you wouldn't have taken before, but now Mars behind it, you know, given that fire behind that Leo energy, I think you're propelled out and out of your comfort zone in a way that maybe you haven't been in a very long time. You just needed that little bit of heat to get you going. On the 14th, we're going to see Saturn and Uranus come into the second of their three squares that they're going to hit in 2021, okay? Now, we've already seen one in February, so immediately I want you to go back to February. Between your 3rd house and your 6th house, what did you see shift? It would have been like, hey, this is destructive behavior. This is unhealthy. You need to get boundaries around this. What happened for you between your mind house, your communication house, your mental house, and your day-to-day routine house, your body, your health? What was happening that was like a breakdown or a freeing of your mind on a daily basis? It would have been something where you're like, okay, I've got to innovate here. And one of the things I think is truly like taking that mind-body connection very seriously, getting new ideas around what a healthy daily routine looks like. It could have just been with that lunar eclipse last month in your sign, such a physical energy where it's like, I've got to take care of my body. So now as they're here at this second square, you've seen it already, and Saturn is retrograde. So now you're going back over it. Is this continued push, which can be very, very frustrating. It can feel frustrating for days or weeks under Saturn and Uranus because you're fighting. You're not integrating both sides of this square or not taking the evolved action to get yourself out of the pressure. So if you're still forcing tension, I will ask you, there's no real pain except for the resistance to the change that is being brought in. So are you resisting something here? But either way, know that between the mind and the daily routine, the thinking and the daily routine, the thinking and being of service to others, the thinking and what you think of others, there's definitely a clash happening, but it's about innovating these two areas for you, okay? On the 20th, it's a very busy day. We've got the sun moving into the energy of Cancer, which brings us to a solstice. Here in the United States, we'll be celebrating the summer solstice, okay? And this will light up and bring light, heat, life, and vitality of the sun to your 8th house area, which we saw that Venus has moved into here as well. So the 8th house is really getting a lot of love. You're motivated in the intimacy and the vulnerability in these connections to get those taxes done, to get the inheritance and estate paperwork done, any of those kinds of things. Now you're ready to move. And let's not forget that Cancer is a cardinal energy. So this is the sun moving into the energy that says initiate, start, nurture, start the things that nurture the 8th house area for you, that protect it. Savings, make sure that you are, as debt free as you can be. Nurture the 4 walls, fortify your home, fortify your emotions and your heart. Whatever it is, the sun gives you full permission in a cardinal energy to take action on it. At the same time, Jupiter will go retrograde in the energy of Pisces at 2 degrees of Pisces. He's just come in just a little bit, and now he's going to retrograde, and then we won't see him have his re-entry until the end of the year. But Jupiter will retrograde in Pisces in your 4th house. Now, as Jupiter made this move in May into this 4th house, the 4th house zone became spiritualized, but it also became, it's like you were realigning it with your new ideals. And in order to understand and really shape your new ideals, Sagittarius, around home, around things with women, around whatever grounds you and makes you secure, you're going to have to go out in the world and acquire some wisdom. You're going to need new teachers to help you get there. So here in 2021, you're just getting a sneak peek of it. And then Jupiter's going to do this retrograde, but it's in your mind now. You're like, wait, I think there's more. I think there's a greater horizon out there for me. I want to know about that. So it's like it's piqued your curiosity, and you'll probably do all the research you need to during the Jupiter retrograde, so that as Jupiter comes forward in December, now you've got a whole track of information to actually take action on and spring yourself into new knowledge in this area. So enjoy the retrograde time, okay? On the 22nd, Mercury is going to come out of retrograde in the energy of Gemini at 16 degrees. This will be again across the street in that 7th house for you. So now the decisions that you need to make about how you're going to participate in relationships, or what relationships are in your life. Are they healthy? Do they have good boundaries? Do you feel powerful? Do you feel assertive in your relationships? Now with Mercury out of retrograde, you feel a lot more confident and a lot more mentally online to take action with them, make decisions around them, sign up for the class, say yes to this partnership, any of those kinds of things. As Mercury is out of retrograde, you'll feel like you have a lot more, I think, mental capacity and clarity to be able to make good decisions. On the 24th, we're going to have a full moon in the energy of Cancer at 3 degrees of Capricorn in your 2nd house, okay? Now, the full moon says that something has to be ended, acknowledged, or adjusted. So here in Capricorn in the 2nd house, absolutely, a full moon can dry up your money. It is absolutely a thing that can happen, but it is not always the thing that happens. What it will do in the energy of Capricorn is say, are we achieving in our 2nd house? Money, how we make money, the creative talents that we go out and put into the world and use them to make money, right? In our values, self-esteem, with your possessions. Are there some possessions that need to be cleaned out? Do you still have those pants that literally have not fit for 5 years? And it's like, okay, come on me. I'm not ever going to wear those. Like, what is it that needs to be cleared out of your space? Now, I will tell you that this moon gets a lot of good love, I think, from Jupiter, and the sun is getting it as well. So it's pretty powerful. It's filled with, what do I need to let go of in order to go on my next journey? It's kind of what that kiss from Jupiter hands this particular energy. But at the same time, Mars and Uranus are heading towards their square with one another. So it is also a time where I don't want you to be too rash and too impulsive, right? Because you can be getting rid of those pants only to find out you really needed the pants. So slow down a little bit, but ask yourself, from my budget to the things that I have to how I make money, do I feel like I have a structure in place that is actually helping me achieve, okay? On the 25th, we will see Neptune stepping into retrograde in the energy of Pisces as well. So also there in the 4th house space. As Neptune goes retrograde, things get real. Right? It's like, boom, this is concrete reality. There's no like daydreamy filter. Things are just very real. So if your ideals and principles that guide your life, ground you down, get you connected to this divine energy, are not in alignment in your home, in your heart, in your psychological makeup, Neptune is going to let you see and feel that by being in retrograde. And sometimes you just got to feel it to know that it's out of alignment. Sometimes you got to turn the lights completely on, take a look about what's going on in the room and say, I want to make these adjustments. But ultimately, Neptune retrograde, giving us that deep realness of just reality, means that the ability to just go create or to see something to see something in an illusionary way really gets distorted during a Neptune retrograde. So pretty much what you're seeing and you're looking at will be what it is. But I will just ask you, what are the ideals and the principles that you want at this point in your life that actually guide how your life is moving forward in the area of your home, with women, with your family, all of those things, okay? As we close out this month, we're going to see Venus entering into the energy of Leo. So again, in that 9th house space. So lots going on up there. And I think that this will actually end up being a time where it's quite attractive. So for some of you Sagittarians, just the nature of needing information, you know, I wonder if some of you are going back to school, going back to a program or something like that. And these things start to become very attractive to you at the end of the month. But you're also very attractive to the opportunities that are out there and available. But I do think that Venus in Leo pushes you again to take a little bit of a risk. Maybe it's time to just put your money where your mouth is, go take the damn class and let it be. Maybe it's time to put your money where your mouth is, go teach it, go share your expression, go share your story, share your poetry, share your knowledge, and at a more advanced level, publish that book, you know, whatever that can look like. Now, Venus is still Venus. You could find yourself having a little romance with somebody who's a little bit more of the like professor, teacher, foreign exchange kind of energy. And as long as everybody is a willing participant, I hope that it goes beautifully and wonderfully well for you, okay? All right, my beautiful Sagittarian friends, I hope you have a gorgeous month, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye, everyone.